Here's Kevin and Tom on 760 WJR.
Our president likes to say, come on, man. Come on, man. Well, I'd like to say, come on, man. Why are gas prices so high again? What's with this $3.80 a gallon? What's with this $75 to fill up my car? Come on, man. How are we doing with the emergency reserve? How are we doing with freeing up permits to drill in America? Where are we at in incentivizing big oil to drill, baby, drill? The cost of gas is killing us more than just at the pump. Everywhere I go, stuff costs more. If a business has to pay more for gas, they don't say, hey, no problem, we'll just take less profit. No, they eventually raise the prices to cover their increased costs, and then you and I pay again. Joining us now is Jay Young, fourth-generation oil and gas professional. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What's going on? What's causing this surge in prices this time? People aren't really talking about them yet, but if we hit $4, they will.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's exactly what's going on, and that's what will happen in the future. You know, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, come on, man, but exactly what's going on is, you know, we don't have the Biden administration support that we need to. And so these oil and gas companies are like, okay, well, hey, instead of drilling for oil and gas in the United States with these billions, I mean, Exxon, Conoco, Phillips, I mean, these guys are making billions, tens, hundreds of billions of dollars. And instead of going back to drilling, which is what they normally do, I mean, I'm a fourth generation oil and gas guy, been around, seen cycles, but because of them or their lack of confidence or their lack of support for drilling in the United States, they're not doing it. So therefore, our supplies are going down. And our demand for oil and gas is continuing to be strong. They suggest that there's going to be an increase in demand this year, even though California may sell 1 million or 2 million, Teslas or whatever their goal is this year. Even though that's happening or that's going to happen, it doesn't mean that we don't need oil in the United States. And if we don't have the support, if we don't have the wherewithal, and we don't drill for oil in the United States, our supply's down. And when our supply's down, OPEC, cuts us back, which they did not long ago. When they do that, man, you can see what happens. Is prices go down, and so we need to get prices down. And we need to have more support. Even Biden in the State of the Union address said, "Oh yeah, hey, we're going to need oil for another 10 years." Well, that freaked a lot of people out.
It freaked me out.
So yeah, it's like, what do you mean? So everybody's like, "Well, let's don't drill for oil and gas anymore." And it starts at the top. I mean, I don't know if it was Harry Truman or I think it was him that said the buck stops here. Yeah, the buck stops here. President Biden, and if you don't give the support needed in the United States for us to drill and to do this, I mean, it's like just because there was something that happened 1 out of 1 million or something, we can get better at drilling and being safe. We're doing that better every day, more economic, better ecology. We need to be doing that. We need the support of our head guy where the buck stops. We need that support more than we need anything else, because then we can continue to drill and we can increase that supply. And when you increase the supply and our demand's strong and it overshadows the demand, oil prices will go down, gasoline prices at the pump will go down. And especially like in May, we're in May. I mean, just think about June, July, when everybody's really starting to drive. I'm in an operations meeting here and thinking about drilling. So you can see what happens around the world, and you can see what happens, in the United States, and when we don't have that support. I mean, oil is used for more than just gasoline in cars. I mean, it's 50-50. Gasoline, it's jet fuel, trains, planes, automobiles, cars. It's used for a lot more. We need the support. We need to be drilling here. We're not. Rig count's down 30% since the pandemic. Still, still down. So therefore, we're not drilling as much.
So the president says you guys are all just greedy. This is all your fault. You guys are greedy. You just want all these profits, and you won't lower your profit margins so the prices are up. It puts himself in like a standoff with the oil companies. Obviously, we need oil and gas. Wouldn't it be well advised for him to try and compromise with the oil companies and say, let me take away some of these regulations for you?
Yeah, I agree. He needs to do that. And he needs to realize that, we're not the ones. There's not some guys in cigars and cognacs and cowboy boots sitting here in Dallas, meeting going, I wonder what we can get the price of gasoline up to this week. That is not what happens. The only reason why you're paying more at the pump is supply and demand. It's economics 101 is the reason why you're paying more at the pump. It's not anything to do with the oil and gas companies. And, I know that Exxon and these companies are making a lot of money, but they also lost a tremendous amount of money during the pandemic. And also they don't make as much as Apple and Google and these other companies. But it's all about supply and demand. Hey, you know what? If we drilled more, instead of putting these profits in these pockets of these big multinational Exxons and of that nature, if they use that money to drill for oil and gas in the United States, they normally do. They normally say, hey, we just made $1 billion. Let's take that and let's go up our rig count in Midland, Permian Basin, to increase supply. That's exactly what they need to be doing, but they're not doing it this time.
Well, when you talk supply and demand, we're talking about a world supply. So in theory, they could drill more in Venezuela or Saudi Arabia or somewhere else and not do it in America. But why is that a bad idea? Why should we be doing it here at home?
Well, we need to be doing it here at home because the less we're dependent on foreign countries, OPEC and people like that, the better, obviously. And we have the oil here. That's what, Biden went over to Saudi Arabia and he said, hey, will you guys give us more oil? And they're like, well, why do we want to give you more oil when you guys have a lot of oil over there? Why don't you just drill it? And I'm sure Biden goes, that's a good point. But, if he didn't, he needs to realize that, hey, there's a lot of reserves here. There's a lot of drilling that needs to happen here. And it's just crazy at the times. And of what we need to be doing here is drilling here. But, yes, hey, there's other countries, Mexico, Canada, allies of ours that, hey, you know what? If they're drilling over there and they're not trying to gouge us with prices. Now, somebody like OPEC, Russia, let's say Russia for an example. It's a terrible example. Not that I'm a Russia fan, but this number comes to mind. Now, what they do is they say, okay, hey, they've got 8 million barrels a day they're producing, but they're only using 3 million. So they have 5 million barrels of oil in the market. So it's a lot different than the United States, which we're at a deficit. We need 20 million barrels plus a day, and we're only producing 12 or 13. We have to go overseas and get 7, 8, 9 million barrels a day from other countries. And it's a business with OPEC. So if they're shutting down, that means they're shutting down because they want the prices to come up. And if they oversupply the markets, then that means that they're obviously trying to bring the price down a little bit. So
all right.
They're playing the game a lot more than us. We're really a victim of needing oil from a lot of other countries.
All right, Jay Young, fourth generation oil and gas professional. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime. Call me back next month and let's get an update.
You got it.
Awesome.
All right. You're listening to All Talk on WJR.